Well, thank you so much, Jess, for sitting down with us. I'm so excited because I'm really curious about where the inspiration behind the art of becoming came from. So could you tell us a little bit about that?
I see this thread of consciousness happening all over the world where people are seeking spirituality, and we only have these like micro moments at retreats or micro moments where we create ceremony, and it's not in our daily lives so much or as much as we can have. And there's this, I feel this deep call or cry for some kind of spiritual belonging, and within that, these kind of universal temple spaces or universal practices of spirituality that aren't attached to any religious practices. So I started to feel into like, what is this journey, the soul journey or spiritual journey, or what is the journey of becoming? And through that, I really felt into like the different modalities that I'd practiced in, so energetic, somatic, mindfulness, but then really through my experience at Intaaya and working with the energies of the land and the work that I've done as a medicine woman in ceremony with the different elements and directions, I realized that so much of our becoming and our healing and our spirituality is connected to the earth, and that these prayers and intentions and rituals and kind of this call that we're having inside of ourselves to connect to God is coming from our disconnection to earth, or our disconnection to our belonging on this planet. And so the art of becoming was a thread of how can I initiate more understanding and connection to earth, connection to water, connection to air, fire, ether, connection to the cosmos in a way that feels accessible, in a way that feels exciting, and in a way that people can get curious about. But like a big part of it for me was not to have practices that would necessarily, of course, a lot of the work that we do here brings up everything that it needs to bring up, but having the thread of like love frequency be through it all. So how are we widening our capacity for more joy, more bliss, more connection in our lives? How are we opening our hearts more and more so that we can spread that seed of love? So much inspiration for it. I'm getting more inspiration all the time, like being in this container with you guys, seeing the way that things land, and so beautiful to really notice and hear and witness everyone, like as we go through all the practices which are in the sacred reciprocity to the land here in Bali, or Nusa Penida, or the earth, or all the things that we've connected to, that people are like, it's lighting up this spark inside of us. It's like, wow, actually, this is part of the practice, and this is part of the healing. Is not necessarily, all internal work, but also like, what is our connection and relationship to all things, to ourselves, to each other, to the earth, to the divine. So it's layered. There's a lot.
Yeah, that's super beautiful. That's really been my experience, and that's one thing that I said this morning, actually, during the beautiful water blessing, because we've gone to different retreats and done different modalities, and a lot of the times you go somewhere and you experience something, maybe a plant medicine, maybe some other form of medicine, and you like have this experience, and then you go back into your life and you're like, okay, now what do I do? Like, sometimes people end up being reliant on different things, but what I really loved about this container that you created was the practices that you taught, they can all be integrated. You can take every single piece of what we've done and you can do it at home, and you can incorporate it into your daily life. And I think that's so beautiful, especially being here in Bali, because I think the Balinese people and their culture is so ritualistic. They have so many beautiful rituals, and I think that's what keeps them so grounded and so happy and so naturally, effortlessly spiritual. We're all on this spiritual journey, and Balinese people just like are born spiritual, you know, and that's just like, it's part of their daily life. Yeah. And that's what I've really enjoyed, is learning the different experiences and the practices that I can actually really incorporate into my daily life. And that's why I'm so excited to share this with people, because it is something tangible that, yes, you should come to Bali. Yes, you should experience this incredible land, but there's also micro moments that people can really learn about and see and incorporate into their life at home. So
thank you.
Yeah, it's really spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you've done a really nice job of creating a very well-rounded, I mean, there's been a very diverse amount of information that's been shared, everything in different forms of meditation, different rituals, to different practices that, you know, I feel like everybody in our group was really like caught in the container. At some different point, you like found the right opportunity for each person to really connect to, you know, the different practices. For me, I mean, pretty much everything that we did hit me in a different way, and that's part of why it was a really nice arc too. It opened up really well, there's clear intention for us, and then it was like we received things we didn't even expect that we were even looking for in some ways. And it definitely did. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me, was kind of like I think I shifted the idea of who I actually am and what I'm capable of. Really. And that's a profound thing to say, and I really mean that, though. It's like I actually see myself having a grander vision for my life, and so that's one of the greatest gifts anyone's ever given me, so thank you.
Thank you. I'm so, you know, it's so beautiful to hear that, because that is the intention, is to feel our greater purpose, to let go of the fear around it, and know that like the universe just wants to delight us. God just wants to delight us. Like when we're here and we're present, that is like our way of giving thanks to all that is. Our presence is a way of giving thanks to that. And when we are present with whatever it is, whether we want to label it good or bad, as long as we are there experiencing it and not, you know, attaching to a fear or a negativity around it that shakes us, and we become centered in that, the universe shows you that this is happening for you and this is not happening to you, and that all of these experiences are just guidance to get you perfectly aligned. And then you get to the stage of everything just being like, you're seeing your, you know, whatever you want to call them, like your sacred numbers everywhere. You're seeing all of this alignment everywhere. And we do all, you know, we do all have whatever we want. Our greatest purpose is available to us. For some people, that's very grand. For some people, it's, you know, something that's very simple. But we're just getting in our own way, really. And so this process is about finding all the things that are not you and letting them go. Right?
I deeply resonate with that last part. I think for me, that is more of the process that I went through this week, was finding all the pieces that are not me. Because there's stuff that came up that I'm like, I thought I worked through this. You know? I mean, where is this coming from? But it stirred it up, and it does feel right. Because I always think about healing, how it like kind of spirals up like this, where like you might still come across a similar thought pattern or feeling or whatever, but you're on like a different level of when you're kind of reigniting that. And that's the process that I was going through this week. And then finally at the fire, I feel like I really shed all of that. But it was seeing all the parts that are not me, and then sitting in front of that fire, and the fire just took all of it. And in that moment, I was like, I can't believe I actually was thinking those things. I can't believe that I was actually feeling that way. I was like, who was that? And it was this moment of like, how did I really just be in those emotions so deeply, and then just and then it was just like transformed, and now I feel like I'm showing up differently on camera, energetically, with my voice, and it took all the parts that are not me and just like transmuted it, and I do feel a lot more embodied, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so beautiful to work with the different elements and to really understand what they are and what they do, and to honor them, because it seems so profound and it seems so untangible in some ways, but you, from your experience with the fire, you see that like the fire really does transmute. And when we have intention and we even are in that reciprocity with the fire, giving thanks to the fire for transmuting all of the offerings that we do. So there's like intentionality in the way that you approach each ceremony or each ritual that is able to really allow you to transmute that, instead of, you know, going to the ocean and being like, oh, I need to be cleansed, let me just jump into the ocean. It's like, I honor you. Do I have permission to enter? Can you please, you know? And then when we were at the beach and we did the ocean ceremony, it was the first time we've done a ceremony down at that beach, and we asked permission and we did the ceremony, and the water was still, and we swam. I swam in that ocean for the first time. I was like, yes, universe, you know, it's just like, it's so obvious.
It is.
It's so obvious, and it's really beautiful, you know, to have you guys here and to experience this with you, because you're so connected and you're so open and curious, and it really is so beautiful to share in this and to witness you and to really feel you dropping in fully and feeling it, because, you know, like I've said many times before, it's a brave path to be open and to be here, to be curious, to experience all of these things, but to put yourself fully in it. Because things do come up, you know, that voice does come in, and all of us are constantly dealing with it. We all go through that spiral, but it's just the different perspective that you have. It's the awareness and the consciousness that sees it, but becomes less attached to it. And then the story is there, but you're not attached to the story anymore. It's like, it's something that happened and it's no longer present. And that's why the ritual and the ceremony is always being present. It's a very tangible way of us being like, okay, now we're here, now we're in ceremony, now we're present. And that's divinity, that's complete connection to God, and that's when the real magic happens. And we can do this in our everyday life. You know, it's just to take a moment, to take a breath and drop in, or to take a breath before responding, or to take a breath before adding a story or adding a layer to it, because life's actually so simple. We just make it so complicated. You know, I get this message over and over again, like, life is so simple and we make it so complicated. So it's that deep connection to heart and love that holds us, to keep us brave. And so these are the moments that we like just fill our cups up so much with that love, so that we can walk into the fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that about us, because thankfully we love this stuff. Like, just from our own personal journeys, we've always been deep in the personal development world and the spirituality world, and especially as we've worked with different clients respectively, you know, we see the value in it. And so for us to go out and learn these tools, even if it's not always just for us, but that we can actually go and share, it really means the world to us. But one of the things you mentioned was when we went down to the ocean, it was like the land was listening to us, right? It knew that we were going to be down there. It opened itself for us to come and actually swim at that time. And you've mentioned a few different times since we've been here the way that the land really speaks and how that affects the actual retreat itself. So can you speak a little bit to the land and how you kind of, first of all, the process of Intaaya, and anything you want to share about the way that the land speaks and how you guys have kind of seen it through your own perspective, but also how it shapes the retreat and how you've kind of intuitively felt it speaking throughout our retreat.
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's the whole program is also based around the land, because when Intaaya was first created, it was built completely sustainably and off the grid, and it was done with so much intention and love. So there was zero waste, or everything that was, all the rocks that were moved were then crushed, that made the limestone floors, that did the earth walls. All of the bamboo that was brought in was not processed somewhere else. It was brought in and processed here. Like the sustainability and the respect for not only the land here, but the process in which this space was built, in terms of the materials, in terms of the people who were building it, in terms of waste, everything. It took a long time for everything to be considered. And I feel at first the intention was for it to be with respect to the land and respect to earth, so that we can hold spiritual gatherings and we can hold ceremony here and we can have transformational practices here that are meaningful, because the space has been created in a way that is meaningful and shows that we care about the earth, we care about all beings, and we care about, the ways in which we practice and we live. But what happened from that, what evolved from that, is when Intaaya opened and people started coming and we had retreats being held here, and Cesare, the founder, was spending a lot of time on the land, he began to realize that the land was super powerful, that people would arrive, and before any process would happen, like before any practice or ceremony, people were already going through an experience. And so tracking that and tracking all of the different containers that have been held here in retreats and people's experiences, we began to realize that the land is doing all the work, and the facilitators are just really holding the space, like holding the field of love. We're there for you to integrate. We're here for you to understand why this is happening, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I feel this way. We haven't done anything. Like, why is this happening to me? Or I'm going through such a deep process and I don't understand where it's coming from. So also the integration of, and the education of, what it actually means when you're on sacred land. So then we started to do a lot of research into Nusa Penida. Obviously, we know Bali is so sacred and so spiritual. And it was our own journey of understanding how much the land does the work. And then it was into this understanding of, all temple spaces around the world are built on ley lines and specific energetic points. And it's for that reason that it is a portal. And so Intaaya is a portal. We have the Wallace line, as you know, right in front of us, which is where the flora and fauna, the animals, plants are separated by this line, this ley line or plate shift. And on the one side is all Asian flora and fauna, and on the other side is all Australian. And the fish don't cross and the birds don't migrate over. So it's this energetic line that is also this very, very, very strong portal. We had Matthias De Stefano come here and do channeling into that line, into this portal in between the rocks. And he said that this space is one of the most important lands for turning the poison into medicine. And that's really the alchemy, right? Is how are we turning the poison within us or around us into medicine? Because all medicine of some form is venom or poison, or so all poison can be medicine too. And so in the art of becoming, in this container, being in what I've been saying so much, I love this word, in sacred reciprocity, we understand that when we give offerings, when we give thanks, when we give presents to the elements or the land or the beings there, that in that reciprocity we receive so much from the land. And even in my own medicine ceremonies, working with the directions, working with the different elements, I formed a whole new understanding of how it works. And for me, the medicine is all around us. It is us. And the consciousness of all medicine is in the land. And so we are accessing a clear channel to this consciousness in whatever way is needed for us. So I believe that, you know, the consciousness of the earth is giving us the exact medicine that we need for our own being. And this is beyond the mind's comprehension of what we can understand. But when we're in that ceremony or that ritual or that prayer, we're opening up the field and it's happening. So the land, the ocean, the seen and the unseen in this field play a huge role in, and you feel that when you're in a medicine journey, right? Like when you're in an ayahuasca journey, or that, all the veil lifts and then it becomes so clear. You're like, oh, the land, it's so beautiful, it's so powerful. But here the veil is lifted already. You don't need per se to take medicine because it's so strong here, you feel it already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I was just, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say that, you know, I genuinely pride myself in not getting sick. I'm like, oh, someone could cough like in my mouth. And I'm like, I'd never get sick. And as soon as I landed here, and within, I don't even know, a couple hours, I started to feel, and then I got so sick for a whole day. And I didn't really tell people how bad I was feeling, but I was really feeling so awful. And then I ended up getting a super high fever and slept for like 8 hours and was just like sweating out, felt like so many toxins. And it was really a powerful experience because, you know, at first I'm in my mind of like, oh, what does this mean? Like, why am I getting sick? And I'm trying to think of all these things. And then I kind of just had this download, and this realization was like, the land is cleansing you. And you have to just surrender and be okay with it. And however long it takes is however long it takes. And luckily my body moved through it fairly quickly. Within about 24 hours, I felt like completely better. The next day, the next morning, I felt really good. But I do attribute it to the energy here and to the land, that it activated something in me, and my body just started dumping everything.
Oh yeah, it does. Like even for women, like in your moon cycles, it's like very common here that women will have their moon early. It will come in stronger. You know, a lot of the women were talking about it last night. I was like, yeah, that happens. You know, it's like it's just that drawing out, that potency, and that cleansing, like you said as well.
Yeah, I feel so grateful that, you know, we were able to come here, especially for our original medicine project, because I have not yet had an experience. I'll speak for myself, maybe you have, but I have not personally had an experience yet where the land itself has been this powerful. Mm-hmm. And when I had the idea of original medicine, of course, original medicine, like nature, right? Yeah. That's where it comes from. And that was the intention behind all of it. Ancient healing techniques, indigenous cultures, but I didn't really feel, and you talked about this in one of your sessions, which I love. You said, I don't want you to just think about it in the mind and understand it in the mind. I want you to feel it in the body. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I finally was able to comprehend, because I understood it in the mind of like, original medicine is nature, and we need to ground, and we need to be a part of nature, and we need to swim in the ocean. And, you know, I could understand that from an intellectual perspective and how healing and how potent nature can be. But I didn't really feel it in my body and know it until I had this experience here. Because all of the things that we've done, you know, in some capacity, I've done breathwork before, I've done some of these other experiences before, but because of the way that it is in reciprocity with the land and the intention that's behind it, it has shifted me in ways that, you know, I just have never been shifted before. And I've really felt how healing nature can be, and the connection to nature, how healing and how that is really medicine because of this experience. It's like a knowing that I've never had before, which is really beautiful.
Yes.
It's so cool.
Yes.
No, thank you, Jessica, so much for sitting with us and also just inviting us here to be a part of this retreat. It's been so incredible. And, you know, you really are super inspiring to us and to the whole group here, but especially to us. You know, you're incredibly knowledgeable, you're incredibly tapped in. And, you know, one of the things I've heard you say multiple times is the importance of love. to you, and you really embody that. You have a very loving presence, and you also have a very joyful presence. The number of times I've heard your laugh around
Yes, you have such a distinct laugh. It's
and you
awesome.
laugh so much. You're so joyful, and it's just really an honor to be in your presence and to be a part of this experience with you.
Thank you guys. It's been so aligned and so beautiful to have you here and to really feel your devotion to this work and what you're doing. You know, you were speaking about your like not getting into the mind about it, and then you are in the mind about it, but actually I think you're less in the mind about it than you know, like you guys drop in fully, and I'm excited to work with you guys more. It's such an honor
thank
to
you.
have you here. You've been such a highlight to the group as well, like the way that you've added your energy to this constellation. It's been very, very, very meaningful. So thank
Good,
you.
that means the world to us. Thank you.
It does. Yeah, and maybe you could speak to that really quickly of how, honestly, how has it been to have us here with cameras and things like that? You know, a lot of times the camera can really help to draw out a more intentional version of people, but I guess from your perspective, what did it really feel like to have, you know, a whole different level of experience within a retreat?
I think it felt very natural. You know, I think, like I said, you guys are not coming from this mind perspective, and so although you are wanting to learn more and you're documenting it, it's not coming from the mind perspective of like, how can I capture this, show it to people, and make it make sense in a way that they can understand through the mind. And you're rather here, deeply present, feeling it for yourself, devoting yourself fully into, I mean, you guys have been at every session, you've been communicating with everyone, you've been fully, deeply involved from a very, very authentic space. Like, I feel that authenticity so much, and so I feel excited for you. I feel excited for this project. I want to support you in any way that I can to, I feel that your essences are both unique and combined together, so the way to connect with you is so easy and so effortless that I feel that it's going to make a big impact in the world. And your team is amazing as well. It felt very natural, and there was never a moment where I felt like, ooh, you know, and we are all in this field together. And you all held it so well, so beautifully, really.
Awesome. Thank you.
Director question. I just wanted to ask your definition of a miracle.
Ooh. I need to drop into that because I have this. Maybe there's. Okay, so my definition of a miracle is when something is so embodied and dropped into the body that it's a change in perspective. You see things differently, but not through the mind. You feel things differently, which is what you shared. And so for me, a miracle is when the mind, the knowledge becomes dropped into the body in a way that completely shifts your perspective and allows you to remember more deeply who you are. But it's so nuanced. There's so much more.
That was beautiful. Yeah, crushed it. I'm like, oh, that's such a good answer. Awesome. Yay, thank you. You're so wonderful. Thank you. We love you.